Alright, so this isn't usually how I do reviews, I know, but my audio recorder stopped working during the ride and so there's no onboard commentary. Let me know if you like the style and maybe I'll do more in the future, otherwise this will be the only time, hopefully. I've been looking forward to this bike since it was announced back in 2016. The previous generation of Fireblade didn't really tickle my fancy, but this one very much hits all the right buttons. The front end looks like a Panigale done right, sorry Ducati fans, and the profile with that thick twin spar frame looks as dangerous as the engine it houses. Speaking of, that engine is still a 999cc inline 4, but a lot of work has gone into it to bring it up to the modern age of superbikes. Output is now a claimed 189 horsepower, and while that might seem low compared to the 200 plus horsepower monsters from Italy and Germany, the Honda is tied lightest of the 4-cylinder crew, weighing around 195 kilos wet, they say. The S1000RR, for reference, weighs a claimed 207 kilos, and the RSV4 is 204. Kawasaki ZX-10R equals the Aprilia, while the Suzuki Gix 1000 pips both by 3 kilos. Ducati's Panigale V4 is the only one to equal the Honda, which is impressive considering it's got 100 extra cc's, but nitpickers will remind others that the Panigale is MotoGP tech for the road and it came out after the Honda. We won't bring up the RC213 VS. I'm not mentioning bikes like the Panigale V4S, which has special extra components to drop weight and increase performance, because I'm riding the base CBR, just called the RR. That means it has Showa big piston forks up front instead of semi-active Öhlins, an adjustable Showa rear shock, no quick shifter, and Bridgestone tyres rather than Pirellis. It's got other changes as well, but those are the big ones. The RR does get most of the electronics from the uprated SP1, which is good, minus the quick shifter and launch control, so for the first time in Fireblade history you get traction and wheelie control, engine braking management, and engine power control. You also get that lovely dash from the RC213 VS. Alright, so how quick is it? That's all you want to know really, isn't it? It's fast. It's really, really fast. 3 seconds is all it takes to hit 100, and that's just in first gear. Second gear will see north of 160 flash up, and then you're braking because that corner you thought was nearly a kilometer away is coming up real quick. Good thing the brakes are monsters with 320mm disc with Tokiko calipers. And despite not having those special Öhlins forks, the front suspension cushions the dive enough to lean into the bend. Then you wind on the power, and a little valve in that humble looking exhaust, titanium and designed by HRC by the way, opens to give you what sounds like a straight through pipe. It's really loud. Front wheel comes up and it is gently caught by the wheelie control. Setting it to 1 out of 5 gives the most lift with the late intervention. Power and engine braking is the same, 1 equals more user control. A higher number is more electronic interference. The base model will set you back by about 28,000 here in New Zealand, which is about the middle of the pack in terms of price. Splurging for an SP1 increases cost by about 5 grand, but does give you those Öhlins goodies, up-down quick shifter and a handful of other things, including bragging rights. However, I would hazard a guess and say that, like me, most leader bike riders couldn't actually tell the difference between the suspension. So instead, I would buy the base bike and spec a quick shifter onto that. You get so much performance out of it that it's not really worth the 5 extra grand. But if you're one of those people that will take it to the track and try and extract every ounce of performance out of it, you'd want the SP1 because, I mean, that suspension is better. You can't argue that it's not. And on that, I think that brings us to the end of the review. Thank you for staying and listening. It was a short one this time because my audio equipment sucks. And yep, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. I'll see you next time where hopefully I'll have something equally as fun as this. Thanks very much. Do a burnout.